back there, yeah.
So the structure that you've shown us tonight seems so elemental to the meaning of the I Ching, and yet it sounds, I know next to nothing about it, the I Ching itself, but it sounds like it, in some ways it was lost, like this is not something that...
Well, that was a scary part.
Part of, yeah, so...
If you look at the history of I Ching exegesis, it's been a problem forever. No one's ever really figured it out. And so when this came down the pipe, it scared me half to death. And I don't know what it means that this is coming into the world right now.
So when you showed the pictures
Yeah.
of everything lining up together, it felt very architectural.
It is.
And
Well, that's the language I used to present it, but yeah.
Yeah, so I was wondering if there was if you found any evidence of
No.
a connection with architecture in ancient China.
No, not architecturally, not that way. But I think it's very interesting that in these times, if you're a Shambhala person, you understand that the wisdom of the ancestral sovereigns is coming into the world now. All of the great wisdom traditions have lost their ground. Every one of the great societies that was based on and supported non-theistic wisdom traditions has been eaten out from the inside by the cancer of materialism. Japan, China, India, Tibet, they're dead meat in terms of being a society that supports the wisdom. That doesn't mean there aren't people who hold the wisdom, but the society has been taken over. And, in our tradition we say, that wisdom is pressing itself down. And that's why it picks someone who doesn't know Chinese to do this kind of job. It's like, you want me to do what? But again, it's, I think that's something we should understand each in our own way, that when you open your heart, whether you're part of Shambhala tradition or not, there's tremendous responsibility imposed upon you because of the times. That if you genuinely open your heart, opportunity happens, and opportunity is something to look askance at, because this kind of opportunity is going to put you on the spot, push you beyond your expected abilities, because there's so many people who depend on it. And that's within a lineage like Shambhala, particularly, you're really signing up in this lineage. But it's not limited to that. It happens all you could, you might even find like a, venture capitalist who starts to do that sort of thing.
What was Trungpa's relationship with the Yijing?
It's an interesting question. I had only one little interface with him. He did institute it as a yearly event on Shambhala Day, and that's been very much, and he threw the coins, and today we do it as well.
Yeah.
And we never done much with what came out of it. It's a typical form of his skillful means, is that he plants the seed that this is really important, and then sort of we do it, and everyone is happy to hear about it and forgets about it. Nothing comes of it, but it was sort of clear, like, this is a placekeeper for this in our world. And over time, I think, as we understand it in these ways and develop proper respect for it and sense of being good stewards in that way, that tradition might bloom under Sakya Mipa Rinpoche. But there is that sense of planting the seed, but never really using it to its full potential because things weren't developed yet. That way, yeah.
Yeah, and I noticed for the first time, actually, the tail of the tiger has the lake under the heaven. It's a hexagram.
It's a hexagram, yeah.
And
treading
so,
on the tail of the tiger, treading.
Yeah, so treading, I see that. And how did it come to be that Karma Choling had a hexagram?
Well, that's an interesting story. Do you know it, Blake?
A little bit, but go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Jack Nyland told me at one point.
Okay.
I think it was thrown by the early people who founded it, who was Cran and Kason.
Yeah.
And that's what they got, and traditionally treading on the tail of the tiger, or treading, has been interpreted to mean, that you're around a really powerful person, and you're serving that person, and it doesn't bite you.
Yeah.
The way I've translated it is upside down, which is that a teacher is coming into an untamed situation, and that person is skillful enough, and the situation is just tamed enough, So he's not killed by the people he's teaching, because he's teaching virtue, and that goes against the law of the barbarians. So I translate it upside down, and certainly if you were there in the early days of Tail of the Tiger, it was rough on Trungpa Rinpoche. I mean, of course he was up to it, but it was completely untamed and dangerous and difficult and very hard to work with. So he was able to tread on the tail of the tiger without it going crazy. Smaller, lesser teachers literally lose their lives, when it goes wrong. All right, thank you for your kind attention and patience. It's a great gift to me to be able to try and find words to talk about this and have your most excellent, and I mean that from my heart, input and interest. Again, I consider it a work of partnership, that if we learn how to learn this, then that way of learning can be shared with others. And that's the next project. I've done the first part of translating. Now the part is how do we make it useful? And that's not something that happens from one side. So all my love, all my appreciation. Thank you so much.